Hi, and welcome back to another video. And today I'll be talking about the Iowa 2026 governor race, as we got a huge update the other day where Rob Sand has announced his 2026 campaign for governor. He's going to be running in this governor election next year. And this is going to be an actual, possibly, it could be a very, it could be competitive. It could be competitive. The incumbent Republican governor announced that she was retiring. She wasn't running for re-election. So we have obviously we have open primaries, or we could have open primaries on both sides, where there really is no incumbent to face, right? Republicans obviously want to hold this seat. They probably have a good chance of doing it. Democrats probably want to try and make it competitive. I still think as of right now, Republicans would probably win this thing, but Rob Sand seems like a candidate that could do very well. I don't think as of right now, I don't think he'd win, but I think that right now he has a pretty good chance, as Rob Sand is the only Democrat in Iowa to hold or to win a statewide office, and Rob Sand has been making a lot of money here. Where is it? Yeah, Sam was widely expected to run for the position as Democrat nominee, having raised more than $8 million in the 2024 calendar year. Sand is facing a different playing field for governor, the predicted handing in the 2026 election cycle. Governor Kim Reynolds announced she will not seek re-election in 2026, meaning Republicans are also facing an open primary in the gubernatorial race. Several Republican elected officials, which we will talk about later, I want to see if they show the amount of money he's raised. While other Democrats may join the race for governor, Sanders is considered a top contender to become the Democratic nominee. Though not competing against an incumbent could be favorable in the race, Sand and Democrats still must win over Iowa voters who have overwhelmingly elected Republicans in recent state and federal elections. Iowa congressional delegation is entirely Republican. GOP majorities were elected in 2024. All statewide elected officials other than Sand are Republicans. Um, so I'm trying to see how much money, because I heard it was like 2 million. Anyway, so the he's made quite a he's the point is that Rob Sand has made up a quite a amount of money, during his campaign for governor so far. And Rob Sand seems to be a really maybe a candidate that could maybe pull it off. However, I still think that as of right now he'd lose, but he could make it competitive, right? This is a midterm election year that is going to have a President Donald Trump, who as of right now is very unpopular. Democrats are obviously going to benefit this year, like Republicans benefit in 2022, and 2014, and 2010, back when there were Democrat presidents of Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And we've seen Democrats perform well in midterm years that have also had Republican presidents, because that's how it usually works, right? In 2006, when George Bush was, elected, um, you had Nancy Pelosi become Speaker. You had Democrats win huge in the House. You had in 2018 during Donald Trump's first term, you had Democrats take back the House again. You had them performing very well, and it could happen in 2026, but we're still a while away, and there are a lot of races here to pay attention to. And I really think the Iowa governor race could be one of them, right? Iowa is a state that mostly gets a lot of attention during presidential primaries, because usually that is the first state where a primary election is held, right? We saw Donald Trump win Iowa last year, and we saw Joe Biden win Iowa also last year in their primaries, regardless of Joe Biden dropping out months later. But still, this could be a serious candidate, as he's the only Democrat who really has the argument that said, I've beaten Republicans in the state before, and I could do it again. I don't think Rob Sand will win, but I think he has a serious shot here. I think that Democrats, with Donald Trump being president, with this being a year that probably will be benefiting Democrats, unless something really bad happens for them, this probably is the best time for a candidate like Rob Sand to run in a race where there's no incumbent Republican governor, there's no popular candidate so far on the Republican side, right? Donald Trump is an unpopular president. He will be the target. There's a lot of things that could benefit them here. And even if the gap is close, even if Rob Sand loses by like 2 points, that is a big improvement. In an election performance, because we've already seen how it goes how Iowa, shifts Republican, right? 2022 was a year that you can argue went well for both Democrats and Republicans, right? Democrats kept the Senate, but Republicans took the House, and Republicans also were able to flip, right, the Nevada governor. They came close in New York. They did pretty well in Georgia. They did amazing in Florida. They did pretty decent in Texas. But Iowa was also a state that nobody really paid attention in 2022, right? Because we had governor races like Pennsylvania, New York, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Nevada, or even California that were kind of gaining, a lot of attention here, a lot of attention. But Iowa wasn't something that people looked to because Iowa was this governor race was like say far right. Reynolds was a very popular incumbent Republican governor. Iowa has been for some time now a very, very, very red state. And as of right now, believe it or not, this race so far, this upcoming governor race, is actually, I believe, I think it's a lean R state. I think it has, it is now a lean R race. I'm pretty sure it has been. But as for the candidates who are chosen right now, on the Republican side, we have for declared Brad Sherman, who apparently is a former state representative for the 91st district, since from 2023 to 2025. We have publicly expressed interest. We have all these people who could possibly run. We have potentials, and we also have declined people who say they aren't going to run. Right, Chris Coyier, Kari Lake. I don't know why. Marion Miller Meeks, Zach Nunn, and Kim Reynolds, who was the incumbent governor. Now on the Democratic side, it's actually, I think it's pretty interesting, right? We have Paul Doyle, who's a bus driver. He probably won't do well in the primary. Rob Sand, I think, will probably win the primary. He probably will be the nominee. He's been making a lot of money. He seems like the best candidate for the Democrats to run. And I don't think he's going to have much opposition when it comes down to the Democratic primary. And he already has endorsements from all these state legislators. Look, Corey Kelsey, who is a state senator for the Iowa 16th Senate District. And of course, we have the predictions. We have, where this leans as of right now. So, like I said, right, in February 6th of 2025, there really wasn't much going on for this race, right? It was just a battleground, right? And then in May of 2025, which I believe, this was before he ran, right? This was before he ran. It became a likely R state, which is very good for Republicans, right? Likely R means that Republicans would probably still win, possibly by a little bit over double digits. So really not something for Republicans to stress by, in a likely R state, but with something like that. However, on May 12, 2025, which is the exact same day Rob Sand announced his campaign for governor, it came to a lean R state, which means that it has gone left a little bit, right? The Republican advantage has shrunk a little bit ever since ever since Rob Sand's campaign was announced. Now, I'm not saying that is a trend where the Iowa Democrats are going to start, possibly going to be winning this race. I still don't think they will, but I think Rob Sand is going to make this incredibly, incredibly close. Because Donald Trump is president, because Republicans will probably lose the House but keep the Senate, and there's just a lot of things Democrats have right now that could be in their advantage. But yet, however, the Republicans, where is it here? The Republicans really haven't. I mean, I don't know if Brad Sherman would be a popular. I don't know if he'd be a good candidate. But I think there's a lot of people here still that have expressed interest on the Republican side to run. And if the Republicans choose a very popular, a strong candidate to run against Sand, I think that Republicans could keep this seat. I think they're going to win, but I think Sand could make this really close. He could make this really close. And I think it comes down to, right, Sand is clearly going to be the Democratic nominee. But it really comes down to who the Republicans choose. If they choose a really weak candidate that Rob Sand could make a narrative around, kind of like what Fetterman did with Oz back in 2022, then, right, they're going to lose. And I know, it's Iowa, right? It's not Pennsylvania. Iowa's been a state that has constantly been voting Republican, and we can even look at the presidential side, right? In 2024, it voted for Donald Trump in 13 points. In 2020, it voted for Trump by 8 points. In 2016, it voted for Trump by 9 points, right? In 2012 was the last time it went Democrat for Obama, when Obama won it to Romney by 5 points. But ever since then, right, Iowa has been a state that has constantly been voting Republican, and it probably will in 2028, but we are far away. 2026, I think, is the best shot for a Democrat to really win a governor election um for this Iowa race, because when it comes down to incumbent Republican governors who are very popular within their state, right? Kim Reynolds or Mike DeWine or Brian Kemp or Ron DeSantis or Greg Abbott, they do perform very, very well. We saw Kim Reynolds perform by safe margin. DeSantis, Ivey, right? Mike DeWine, Brian Kemp almost got there, right? So did Abbott. They perform, they do very, very well, right? We also have some others here, but still, they perform very, very well. And now that this governor, Kim Reynolds, is now out of the race, this could be very, very, very competitive. This has the chance to become a very competitive governor race. And it's all going to matter, right? Sanders obviously going to be the Democrat nominee, but I think it all comes down to who the Republicans choose to replace Reynolds as the nominee. Who it comes down to, who they choose. If it's a strong candidate, then they'll probably win, right? They'll probably win by 7 to 8 points, regardless of how. Or I think it also depends on what the political landscape is at that. But it really does come down to that, right? If the Republicans choose a strong candidate, right, they'll win by 7 to 8 points. But if they choose a weak candidate, they're either going to probably win by 3 to 5 points. 3 to 5 points. As of right now, that seems to be where it's going. I don't think at any point right now, Democrats, as of this moment, I don't think they have really a chance as of now that they have a chance of flipping the seat. But Rob Sands is really, really, really doing well. He seems to be a very strong candidate. He has a very strong message. He's raised millions of dollars so far in donations. So maybe he has what it takes. Maybe he is able to pull this off and win the governor election. But still, we are very, very, very far away here from this governor election. And maybe we'll see more Democrats hop in and maybe more Republicans. But until then, we will see what happens. But anyways, that is the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please like and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video.